BHP says it will announce the fate of its Western Australian nickel operations by August. The world's largest listed miner has felt the pressure of a slump in nickel prices, and this has cast a shadow over prospects for nickel production, particularly in Australia where costs are high. BHP also announced that it has trimmed its fiscal 2024 output estimates from its Queensland coal operations. It now expects to produce between 21.5 and 22.4 million tonnes of metallurgical coal. The downward revision is due to the impact of wet weather on operations. Orion Metals has requested a trading halt ahead of what it calls a material announcement in relation to exploration results at its O'Keep copper project. The group has requested the halt until Monday and says it will make a statement before trading starts that day. Orion wants to see the O'Keep copper project become its second base metal production hub in the Northern Cape, alongside its flagship Prisca copper zinc mine. PSG Financial Services has posted a higher year-end profit. The firm grew recurring headline earnings per share by 11%. Assets under management, meanwhile, increased by 15%. PSG says the results were achieved against a backdrop of challenging operating conditions. It's declared a final gross dividend of 28.5 cents, taking the total dividend to 42 cents. That's 17% higher than the prior period. Jubilee has reported record chrome production in the third quarter. That's even as the period is traditionally known for lower output due to the January holiday period. CEO Leon Kutzer described the performance as exceptional and says the achievement is due to the miner's renowned technical and processing capabilities. Oceana expects half-year earnings to almost double. That's thanks to a strong performance at its Daybrook operations. That unit benefited from higher fish meal and fish oil sales volumes at record dollar fish oil pricing during the period. The firm's Lucky Star division also helped after improved canned food sales volumes were delivered in March. Oceana will open its books on the 10th of June. Canal Plus has upped its holding in MultiChoice. The French media group now owns 40.8% of the DSTV owner. That's as it looks to take control of the company. Canal Plus says that the on- and off-market acquisitions have been disclosed to South Africa's Takeover Regulation Panel. Labour demand in the Western Cape, meanwhile, has outpaced the rest of SA over the past decade. That's according to a study conducted by Labour Market Intelligence. Leaning on data from Stats SA, the study found that the province's labour market has recovered and is now stronger than it was in the year preceding the pandemic. Most labour demand in the Western Cape is said to come from the finance, construction, agriculture and community and social services industries. In international developments, the US has reimposed oil sanctions on Venezuela. This in response to the country's President Nicolas Maduro's failure to deliver on election promises. Here's more detail in this package report.
The US is reimposing oil sanctions on Venezuela. Washington officials say they won't renew a license which had broadly eased restrictions. Hours before the deadline, the US Treasury Department issued a new license, giving firms 45 days to wind down oil and gas operations in the country. It all comes after Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro failed to honour all terms in the deal that had eased sanctions. The US says he's breached a promise to allow the opposition to run a candidate of its choice in July's presidential election. However, the news of renewed sanctions drew a defiant response from the Venezuelan leader.
When did we become a gringo colony, a star of the United States? When? Can someone tell me? Venezuela is a country that walks on its own feet, uses its own head, produces with its own hands.
Government supporters insist Venezuela has honoured the deal with the US, but Washington says Maduro has harassed, intimidated or detained opponents. Multiple opposition allies and activists have faced arrest in recent months. Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado condemned the government's actions.
The regime violated every agreement. They haven't complied with everything they promised. Instead, they've intensified repression. They've incarcerated more people. They've persecuted. They've barred opposition members. Everything they said they wouldn't do.
Global oil prices rose following news of the new sanctions. International benchmark Brent crude gained around 0.25% early Thursday. Prices had already faced upward pressure amid concern conflict in the Middle East could affect supplies.
And TSMC's first quarter profit has beat forecasts, increasing by 9%. The Taiwan tech giant is one of the many stocks to be boosted by the AI boom. Here's more detail in this packaged report.
The AI boom continues to spell good news for the world's tech firms. Taiwan chips giant TSMC is the latest to say it's benefiting from the demand for ChatGPT and the like. On Thursday, the world's largest contract chip maker said profits rose a better-than-expected 9% over the first quarter. That saw them hit almost $7 billion. The surge in AI demand has helped it cope with waning sales of gadgets, which had seen a boom during lockdowns. It's a big supplier to companies including AI chip champion Nvidia. Shares in the firm are up by more than a third this year on the back of all that. It's now Asia's most valuable listed company. Looking ahead, TSMC said it expected 2024 to be a year of healthy growth. It's spending heavily to expand output in Arizona, backed by financial support from Washington. The upbeat outlook gave shares in tech stocks a boost around the region. Japanese chip gear maker Advantest jumped over 5% to become the day's top gainer on the Nikkei index.